where, relatively mainstream people are considering whether or not the organization should just be reabsorbed.
Law enforcement is a pariah organization, according to the liberal progressive DSAs in the media, not to normal Americans who want safety and security and the law obeyed. In my opinion, I watched a documentary recently about Dog the Bounty Hunter, and I think that ICE needs to offer independent bounty hunters, aka everyday Americans that need a job, to go out and hunt illegal aliens using Peter Thiel's database. I think that's a great business opportunity for Americans looking to get into vigilante law enforcement and make a lot of money doing it.
So according to, let's take a look at some YouGov polling. Let's see, what do people think? Do you support abolishing ICE? About 48% of all US adults support abolishing ICE. In 3% Democrats, 48% of independents, and 24% of Republicans. Wow. So to me, that doesn't sound like it is just the radical progressives. Sounds like unless 24% of Republicans are radical DSA, leftist, Marxist, socialist, communist progressives.
Dave, are you loving the Trump administration?
Nah.
Did you vote for him?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We're just not getting the other side represented on this. Once we start talking about the numbers, they
Nobody wants to defend it. Like, it's actually like the most unpopular, uncool thing you can do.
Hey, the numbers are what, by the way? What are they talking about? The ICE? The numbers from ICE?
No, his economic numbers from the link above. So I can just read them for you.
Yeah, I think it depends on the sector too, because like Trump, there's everybody about to go up in arms because he rewrote the Endangered Species and Threatened Species Act. Man, everybody's like, oh, he's removing fucking animals off of it, and it's not the case. He's giving structure to it, because before, if an animal was threatened or if it was endangered, it was a blanket ban. You couldn't utilize anything, meaning you couldn't even like harvest trees that were alongside a river for like 7 miles. There's a whole lot of weird restrictions that go when an animal is threatened or endangered. And Trump said, no, what we're going to do is take a smart approach. I'm not removing all these protections. What I'm doing is allowing the departments on the ground to determine what is and isn't an impact to this, allow the scientists as well as Fish and Wildlife and the Forestry Service to sit there and tell me, hey, what protections do we need to put into place and what regulations based on each individual species so they have the best opportunity without creating this blanket harm that actually harms people. Those are regulations that the first one, I used to love it, but now because I knew that was the only one I'll ever get, Trump came in and revised it and actually made sense. So for use in California, this will concern you particularly. The Delta smelt will not be a fucking problem going forward. It'll still be protected. It'll still be listed as critical. It'll still be listed as endangered. But you don't have to worry about all the flows that go into it, because now Fish and Wildlife, DNR, and all these other entities are saying they can mitigate that and manage that while protecting the species. So now you'll have access to water.
Using a scalpel for regulation versus a freaking hatchet. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. Being hyper specific makes a lot more sense than the blankets. Nah, I agree with you.
But absolutely believe in regulations. I definitely don't want, I don't know, pilots that came from, China that graduated high school last week, all of a sudden flying a plane into our country, and then all of a sudden seeing a 747 crash down on somebody's house. Like, I had enough of that in my lifetime. I never want to see another plane go down. And I know I will.
You know, it's crazy, Brad. There have been, over the freaking air disasters, there's been a freaking high number that have taken place in freaking New York State. I'll tell you that. I was thinking about that the other day. Freaking crazy how many have freaking taken place in New York, including freaking Concord.
You know, I saw the Concorde once, just once. It came to Niagara International Airport, and I saw it. And it was really cool. I was a little kid, eyes all big and wide, you know, the Polaroid picture to prove it, somewhere in a closet. But yeah, New York is congested, and we need other regulations too. Aside from just national defense, you need a highway system maintained. You need grids. You need a response team to help out during disasters. Like I'm critical of FEMA. I'm critical of a lot of entities in the government, National Guard, Coast Guard, their delayed responses. I think we should have a QRF for hurricane centers, and they should be up and running prior to.
What is a QRF? What does that mean?
Quick reaction force. So I think we should have these types of entities on standby. I think search and rescue entities that go out by state should actually get some compensation because the majority of them are unpaid. But here's a great thing. The federal government actually set regulations on it as well as state governments. You have to actually pass the test, be able to navigate. You got to do certain things. They do a lot in terms of what we have. The national park system, 100% agree with it. I want more. Like, I know a lot of you don't go to them. You're not me. That's fine. I'll take all the national parks you can get. I've got 60 some fucking pins on a hiking staff from parks I visited. I'm happy. I love them. I'll go hike them, live in them, probably die in one of them. I'm good with that. But I mean, we do need the government for some things. The fucking Wall Street, like we just had the what was that one, Finley? The Tea Party team. It would like we just went through this. Like the SEC just got stripped of regulation. That's part. Like some of us are in agreement on. We may disagree with some of these, you know, regulations and whatnot, but then there's some that we actually want. I want protections for my investments in my banks when I put money in. Like I want you guys to have that. I want you to have security. I don't want some ad hoc private business that may go belly up. Yeah, right.
Yo, Brian, have you seen like with not Chime, what is that bank? There's banks that aren't banks. And people are finding out that they lost a whole bunch of money because the banks technically aren't banks legally, so they're losing all the freaking money. It's not FDIC protected. Have you heard about that?
Are those online ones?
Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah, someone was telling me about it. Like the only one who were Discover, Capital, SoFi, and Ally.
Those are legit ones. I'm talking about like the smaller ones. Like forget the name of the freaking company. It's not Chime. It's one of the banks that deals with freaking Cash App. Like one of their banks isn't a legitimate bank. I forget the other one now. It's gonna forget that my time. Can't think of it. But everything will come. But yeah, that stuff needs to be freaking regulated because people have literally millions of dollars, and one of these banks just went under, and people had hundreds of thousands of dollars in there and can't get it out, and there's nothing they can do.
See, that's fucking crazy. Like we want regulations to prevent that shit. I don't need senior citizens on fixed incomes from their investments that they're going, I lost everything I have and there's no protections to help them and ramifications. You like some of the safety nets. I mean, who doesn't? Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like seeing Americans struggle, but I mean, there's a lot the federal government does need to do, even under conservatives. I just think that sometimes the solutions we seek, the majority of solutions can actually be done at a local level rather than immediately going to the federal level. I think the federal level should be, in case of emergency, break glass. Now we need the big boys to come in here and actually fix the problem because we're not getting. So like a Flint, Michigan water crisis. The local area didn't fix it. The state hasn't fixed it. The federal government needs to step in and, you know, say, all right, get out of the fucking way. We got to fix this. And that's when the federal government should come in. Some people believe the federal government should actually be the first response. I think they're clunky. I think they're discombobulated and they take too long. But I think that's why one of the main reasons we should use them as the last resort.
The challenge is the local people. I don't live but an hour from there. They don't know how to handle it, so they kept rolling back.
I actually agree with that. With you on that, Brad.
My state that when the federal government is like involved at those, what you're talking about, they actually work against, like they'll work against the Supreme Court. They'll work against the working people here in Michigan, and that's what we're seeing actually right now with this Copperwood mine. And not only the Copperwood mine, Line 5, which Line 5, if you guys don't know, actually created the biggest inland lake spill in United States history. But with this new national, it's really political. It's bullshit. We don't need to be using fossil fuels. But with this new national, gas emergency, whatever the fuck, that was just put in, they're trying to greenlight the project, even though the Supreme Court told them you're trespassing, you need to leave. You know what I'm saying? They already have a terrible track record, this oil company. And now the feds, or basically the U.S. Army Corps Engineers, gave them a permit right after the fucking Supreme Court and all of our fucking efforts here in Michigan. Sorry, guys, it does piss me off. But, they gave them a fucking permit. And it's like, what is the point? I don't understand. You guys are working against us.
You being in Michigan, I have a question. Is there really like this Muslim takeover there in your state?
No, I feel like that's propaganda. There's no like Muslim takeover. No.
There's areas that have higher population Muslims than the whole state.
We do have a lot of Muslims.
That's fair,
Sure.
Misty.
A lot of people came to Michigan. We have a lot of refugees. Okay, let's be clear about it, right? Because we went into a lot of different countries in the Middle East, and we fucked them. Okay, the United States military went to different countries and fucked these people. So then a lot of these people became refugees, and they live in Michigan. Not all of them are Muslim. We have a high population of Chaldeans, but it's in isolated areas. It's not the entire state. People are just, bigoted people take the fact that we do have the highest population in the entire U.S., right, as a way to try to like manipulate it and make it into something that it's not, making a mountain out of a molehill kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Coco, where else besides Dearborn?
What's that? I didn't hear you.
Where else besides Dearborn?
It's really just like most of the Muslims live in Dearborn or the surrounding county. But it's not just Muslims. We also have a lot of Eastern Europeans, Christians, Orthodox Christians. We have Egyptian Christians. We've got Chaldeans. But it would be in Dearborn and like that county, basically, that Dearborn is in. I don't have a problem with Muslims. I grew up with Muslims. I don't have a problem with Christians. I am Christian. I grew up with Christians, so whatever.
Yeah, I want to discuss. I don't know the specific situation you're dealing with water, Coco, down here along the Gulf Coast. But there's a lot of criticism for the Corps of Engineers. However, I tend to see these local communities that are responsible for their waterways easily blame the Corps of Engineers for their own failures. It's likened to when Iran would, say America was the big Satan and to, keep their people's attention towards America. Same thing goes on in these local entities along the Gulf where they'll blame the federal government because it's an easy scapegoat. And not that they don't have blame to take. I'm not trying to keep up for them, but we do need to be careful in watching these politicians at all levels easily point fingers and pass the buck, because then they do it because they want to be able to keep power in their region or power in their state or power in the feds, So try and make sure to splice through it with discernment. There's probably a lot of times the federal government offers money to these local entities and then they waste it and make failures on it, and then blame the government for not helping, blame the feds for not helping.
I just want to also say, I applauded Biden's Secretary of Interior. Most of the conservatives I know, we very much love the land. Like we're probably more land lovers, more nature users than any card member of the Sierra Club. That's driving what is it's not a Prius anymore, a Tesla, and with a septum nose piercing and holding a sign in the street of San Francisco. I can promise you that we use the land, we hunt on it, we trap, we fish, we farm it, we harvest it, we plant it, we grow it. In fact, you'd actually be surprised. Logging companies actually planted more trees than any other organization. Pretty fucking amazing. But overall, when we see like every conservative groups I've ever been a part of, the Republican Party itself will actually critique them in a massive way about like land use and rights of land and rights of territory and protections on those lands. Because we get stupid things like, hey, you have to expand your what is it, the birthing crates another half an inch or whatever it is, like that stupid California policy that absolutely makes no sense for pigs. Like it really doesn't matter. But again, you get these weird people who get into office and they want to govern for the land, who have never actually set foot on it, had to cultivate it, have to protect it, have to work it, and do any of those areas, and then make problems. And will critique. I have literally heard Republicans go all day critiquing about land uses. There's a farmers team on this app that spent literally a year bitching about this one issue with the Republicans and the bill that they put in and the restrictions that followed along with it. And what I don't get is like when we have people like Char, which I'm going to go flat earthers probably shouldn't attend, but people making up things like Trump lifted off that you could hunt bears in their hibernated state. That's not.
That's something that you can read, Brad.
No, I'm not finished speaking. Yeah. Then you can go on to your dumbass shit.
Definitely pull it up.
You should. So Alaska sets the states set their rules about hunting.
I never said nothing about flat earth.
So the states actually set their rules about hunting. Every fucking person who's hunted knows this. This is why we have to go pay for tag. This is why we have to go pay for. You have to get a hunter safety course in your state. You have to, you have to abide by the rules. And each state has different rules. In fact, there's even different methodologies and weapons you can bring in to hunt and harvest animals. But like dumb shit like this, when it's actually Alaska's state issue, and all Trump's administration did was remove the 2015 Obama era, saying you can't bait bears anymore. And that baiting, and the reason why it was lifted is because everybody in the community said, hey, just to let you know, there's too many black bears. There's way too many. And they're starting to get into trouble, and there's about to be diseases starting to spread. We're seeing a lot more sick bears. So we need some harvesting done. And there's not enough people harvesting them or wanting to take up the traditional hunts. Maybe if we allow baiting, we can get a few more hunters out there to help harvest these, to make sure that we can keep those numbers in check and to make sure that we can prevent disease and keep these animals around. But, you'll have idiots do this shit over and over again. It's up there with, it's only immigrants taking water out of the fucking states and causing those problems. All idiots can be right. I think we should check everybody.
I wanted to comment. I wanted to respond to both Joe and you, Brad. There's a few things you said, Brad, I wanted to respond to. Yeah, Joe, I don't know what region you're in. I would be interested in hearing more about that. It doesn't have to be now. It could be at a later time. The struggle with the U.S. Army Corps engineers, where you're at, that you mentioned. Yeah. So here, what we had is basically these people are, I don't know. I don't understand how we just like fight so hard against them ruining 21% of the Earth's fresh water, and instead of the U.S. Army Corps engineers supporting that, they worked directly against us in our situation here in Michigan. So for me, this is very frustrating. And yes, I'm aware it's frustrating. And there's so much fucking corruption there. People, you know what I'm saying? I understand. We got energy companies here in Michigan. In Michigan, we know more than anybody else. We got to protect our water, okay? Because we have communities. that have absolutely had to go without. And fresh air from Canadian wildfires for years. For years. Now, so much so people in my state, they have breathing problems. There's so many people in my state, they're now diagnosed with like, I don't know, like all sorts of, there's different kinds of things, diagnosis, sicknesses you can get from, so much smoke, right? So, people have been experiencing this for the past, I don't know, we've experienced this for the past like 4 or 5 years here in Michigan. It's gotten increasingly worse, and it's every summer. So a lot of this has to do with, a lot of it does have to do with land use, right? So like actually protecting the land and the water, you know what I'm saying? And like the government just has not done that here. So that's our situation here in Michigan. And like basically the people I rock with just, we try to make something better of it, right? Like we don't try to support them misusing the land or the water, because I see land and water as like relative to me, okay? Like in my community, this is something we believe. We are all relatives, right? So this is a actual, like, I am related to the water. I'm related to the earth. I'm not disconnected. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's sad that some people are disconnected from the earth. And, that can cause all sorts of spiritual problems. But yeah, so, we can see that. We can see that with people. When people are disconnected. So, yeah, not only this, I know when people are misusing the land, like they're just polluting everywhere, you know what I'm saying? Like with oil into the lake, and then all sorts of different other toxins and poisons. Canada is no fault in this, or no, that's a lie. Canada is also has fault in this. A lot of these companies that we are fighting against, and we at the federal level, right, is these companies that are trying to do this are Canadian, okay? They're not American companies. American companies are speaking against what they're trying to do. Yeah, this is a big fight we have here in Michigan, and I'm trying to make everybody educated on this, because this is 21% of the Earth's fresh water, and there's people all over the United States right now that are in water crisis, right? So I don't think it's a good idea for us to ruin our fucking fresh water when you can instead of ruining your fresh water, like that's something you need. That's a fucking necessity. Like I don't know what's not clocking. You know what I'm saying? But it's ridiculous. The U.S. Army Corps engineers, they gave this Canadian company that already polluted the Great Lakes permit. Right after the Supreme Court just told them, get the fuck out, you're trespassing. So now they just gave them, like, that's dumb as fuck. I think that's retarded. I'm pissed off. I'm mad about it, dead ass. And I think everybody else should be too. That's some bullshit. Like, for real. Let's not cap. So, also, yes, I wanted to respond to something Brad said, right? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that I hate loggers, okay? But when loggers are doing clear cutting and just deforesting, right? They're getting rid of the old growth. I hate this because we need our old growth. We need our old growth. Our old growth is what keeps the land, like the soil, it keeps it wet, it keeps it moist, it's based, okay? So when they're cutting this down, this is drying the land. This is killing this is making everything warmer. It's putting the conditions for fires, for wildfires. They are mismanaging the land when they are doing this. So I hate those loggers that do that. However, I do know other loggers, okay? I do know loggers who do not cut old growth. And I do not hate those people. That's fine to me. You can cut down, no old growth and just cut down, like, without just doing clear cutting and, like, you know what I'm saying? So but this is what's happening right now. They're cutting down old here, and they're trying to do this in over in Oregon, the sequoia trees. There's bills like on the floor for this, and there's also it's just like they're also doing this in Canada. That's why the land up there is always on fire. That's why it's always on fire, because the fucking Canadian government does not know what they're fucking doing. Not Mike. His name is fucking Mark. Fuck Mark Carney, okay? Fuck Doug Ford, okay? Fuck Whitmer. And fuck all those people that are like setting the conditions basically to create fucking wildfire on our fucking land. That's crazy. We had to breathe fresh air, y'all. We should not have to be under fucking wildfire smoke. The fuck? You understand me?
Yeah, fuck y'all.
So,
Fuck 'em, yeah.
Joe, do you think we'll take over Canada? If so, how?
Woo, I'm radicalized, baby.
So how will we take over Canada?
I'll get to that, Joe B. Let me tell you what, that was one of the greatest submissions by Coco Loon. Thank you so much, Miss Coco. I think you got a full room of support, though.
Let's take care of this land, people.
Joe B, to answer your question, is it Alberta? They go into the polls right this week to vote for secession. Now, at the moment, it's symbolic. I think it would take more steps to go through approval, but this is the beginning. If you capture Alberta, you get their oil. And as we see what Trump's moves are with now declaring the Strait of Hormuz U.S. territory, I don't see it far-fetched for us to then take Alberta too. It appears like the man wants to take over all the, or a large portion of being able to control the oil flow through the world.
I agree. I think that's where we're headed. It's all about the oil, and we will own it. Watch, I'd bet $1 on it. A whole freaking.
We don't need Canada to own the oil. Like, we already manage their oil. Like, they don't have an east to west pipeline. It comes through 4 of our states. We lease those out, and those states collect money off of that. So we own pretty much their entire infrastructure. They're using our ships, or they're going through this. We don't need to own Canada. It actually would be more beneficial just to leave them as the I guess the dependent bastard child that we found on the side of the road and have to throw allowance money at because, if not, child services comes and yells at us, rather than actually adopting them. The issue that we could do with them is that if they actually said, hey, I want to become part of the states, that would probably be a source of consternation. And I don't know if it actually would pass. I think Trump's a little overreaching on that one. But I mean, They're Canadians. Like,
fabricated lies. Hey, Alberta thinking about it, Brad. Alberta.
I know, but
Alberta is looking at us.
I don't want 51, man. I don't want 51.
Hey, man.
I mean, 50 is pretty good with me right now. If we were going to do 51, I'd rather see Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands become a state. Like, I'll give it that one. I mean, maybe we can get rid of that corrupt government down there in Puerto Rico. But I mean, I don't know, man. But we really don't need Canada for that. The reason for the fires too is because Canada did something really fucking stupid, which is typical of Canadians. They decided to cut down all their hardwoods. They got rid of those fuckers faster than they could blink, and they went for softwoods. And this is a large part of the problem that you have with Canada is because they're sitting there opening up that harvesting and they're taking out all those trees. Yes, I get your understanding, Coco, about the growth. Yeah, that's a mixed bag there. In a very dry season, yes, it does provide some value. But we're also used to have fires every year on this place, and we know this from Native American, and we've actually seen the hit. Like, we can dig down and archaeologically see where fires have spread across. Like, that used to be a common occurrence. So, I mean, I think this whole kind of misnomer of that. The problem that we have is we built cities and we have towns and people are in the way, and that's when it becomes a major concern.
Immigrants that came over here like a couple hundred years ago.
Well, first off, I do believe you were brought over on a boat with shackles, right?
Was brought on a boat, you fucking faggot.
Oh, okay. So you're a pretendian, right? I gotcha.
No, pretendians are peckerwoods back in the 1800s who bought their way into the fucking tribe, you dumbass, so they can benefit from.
You mean like someone going around here saying that they're Native American because they found pictures online and Instagram? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, my father looks like an Apache. You fucking Tato.
Wait, looks like an Apache?
Yeah, I mean, he
looks like an Apache. Wait, you're going with the Elizabeth Warren fucking claim? I have high cheekbones, so I must be Native American?
I mean, you're not.
Holy
shit. Do you pay separate taxes, Char?
Like, sit up here and claim that
I'm
shit.
Native a nigga again.
Bitch.
Char, do you
what do I claim? That's not true.
Do you pay separate taxes? Like, because there are like 575 recognized tribes, right? So are you like one of the 575?
And there are people that that are not a part of the tribe.
He's not an Indian.
Americans pay taxes. I have to pay taxes.
Some of them don't.
Yeah, Shar is not enrolled.
That's some bullshit.
Shar's not enrolled, but he's had a consistent. He's black.
He's talking about the casino.
Okay, so which one of the 500 is? I'm just asking.
Well, out of the
Apache,
he said it's
575 tribes, recognized tribes here. Like, are you? I'm literally just asking.
Looks like an Apache, and then lineage goes back to the Alaskan natives. But my point is,
so you're Inuit? You're from there? From the Eskol?
I mean,
are any of those tribes?
Yeah, you can.
What tribe up in Alaska?
Lineage. You can say
what tribe?
Just
give me the name of the tribe up in Alaska.
Yeah, listen, you.
Give me the name.
You dumb motherfucker.
Give me the name of that.
Become a part of the tribe.
The name of that.
Like, are you simple?
Oh my God! Are you on the? Are you like the?
No,
are you the Indian on the YMCA?
The problem is that immigrants came over and it fucks me up. It's just what it is.
Yeah, like you.
But then you get mad at other immigrants who are coming over here. No, on the real. You're getting mad at other immigrants who came over here, right, to have a better life, who are putting in a net $80+ billion in this country, but you want them out. So you wanted them back then under Ronald Reagan, and even before Ronald Reagan. Now you want them the fuck out. So who's going to replace that net $80 billion that they put into the economy, right? Who's going to replace that shit when you get them the fuck out of here? They, according to the crime statistics, they do not commit anywhere near the amount of crime that the American citizens commit, right? So they're not really that big of a fucking problem.
So does any of that have to do?
Use somebody and then sit up.
So you're saying that we should import more criminal elements off of that because we do have a problem with the groups of sex traffickers. That's a pretty big one that's importing. Child abuse. We're seeing a lot of those get taken off the street. So, but you're okay. We should just what does it matter? We should just import more, compound the problem. No, I don't think
Oh
so.
no,
I don't think anybody-
you if you establish a rule, you establish a rule. Don't sit up here and flip on them the fuck now.
What rule did I establish?
I'm just saying. No, I'm speaking specifically in general.
To what?
I'm speaking generally.
What policy? What rule that you're talking about?
What you guys cry about? Like you guys are silly.
No one's crying about it because Trump effectively is doing what he was elected to do. You're the one that's crying about it on stage. I'm going to do this. You're the one that's whining on stage about
I'm not
immigrants.
whining. I'm pointing out.
There's nothing. Trump's enforcing the same fucking policy that Obama had.
They don't
literally the same fucking policy.
Fucking criminal. The crime.
Wait. Anybody in the room outside of this talking, sputtering fucking idiot?
Wait, Viking.
Anybody can tell me a new law that passed on immigration?
Actually, that is a really good fucking point, Brad. So, okay, aside from the Epstein files, we're not fine. Shar, what is Trump doing any different than what Obama was doing?
I don't give a fuck about Obama. I don't give a fuck about none of these dudes, man. They're all a part.
No. I'm asking about the deportation of illegals.
They're not doing any. They're not. Listen, E. I get all that part. That's not the issue. All right. What I'm specifically speaking about is I'm not speaking about any particular president because they all do the same shit. I'm specifically talking about these guys that cry on the internet and cry in general. You know, these social justice warriors, the woke right, like I call them, right? Because they act just like the left, crying about immigration policy, you know, the immigration problem when it's really not that big of a problem like they try to make it out to be. Listen, Viking.
Wait. It must have been a problem because they've actually talked about it since, I don't know, the 50s and post-World War II. And it's had ongoing issues back and forth. And so clearly it's been a massive problem.
It wasn't an issue when potato niggers came over here. I got you.
Well, I mean, bro,
it wasn't an issue when they fucking freed you from the cotton fields, I guess.
It was obviously a problem.
I was not part of the cotton fields, dumbass. I think it's
unfair to say that it wasn't. I think it's unfair to say that it wasn't a problem because obviously that's why the man is in office today because the electorate thought that it was a problem. So I think to just dismiss it as people being woke because we see that there's a problem with illegal immigration, like I don't take that as somebody bringing up their issue as them being jealous or upset that these people are coming over here. Like why do you guys use that as an excuse when we can say, hey, I feel like you guys are letting too many people in here and you guys aren't vetting the way you should be. And the fact that I see Trump, who I'm gonna admit is not gonna pass the numbers that Obama had with deportation numbers. So
not even close.
Exactly. So I don't, and we can even add up his last term and this term, and he's still not going to pass the numbers of Obama. And personally, I believe that pisses him off, right? So I don't see like what the problem is with what he's doing. Like, are we woke because we think that it's a problem?
No, here's the thing, right? Listen. If you establish policies, you want them to be followed, right? It's not about sitting up here. It's not sitting up here saying that you should just allow anybody to come in the country. My issue, though, is that there's no consistency because you sit up here. When I say you, I'm talking about in general the people that come with this talking point. When you sit up here and say that there's an immigration problem, right? But then you point to drugs, people getting raped, all this other shit, right? Which is a narrative. That's not backed by any statistical category, whether it be the ADL, census, FBI. It's not backed by anything. When you go look into the statistics, they do not commit as many fucking crimes as the fucking American citizens do. So, and they're putting into the country that is already $40 trillion and counting in debt because of the fucking Federal Reserve. So with that being said, to me, there's a certain issue in certain segments when you're talking about certain mass immigration, which the American government is actually allowing them to come in, right? Which they've always done because of the benefits that it can potentially bring. My whole thing is don't sit up here and say we want them out now when this shit has been going on for decades. And mind you, let's deal with the Mexicans. There's so many different immigrants. Because of NAFTA that was established by the U.S. government, right? Those farmers, those people that was dealing with agriculture down there got destroyed. that shit, their businesses got destroyed down there. So they had to come up here through mass immigration to find a better way of living. So you can't sit up here and knock that shit when you're the progenitor of the issues that caused the immigration in the fucking first place. That's not me crying or anything. I'm just bringing out fucking facts. I'm telling you, stop fucking crying about immigration.
I will admit that a Republican, Ronald Reagan, started this nonsense, especially here in Kenya with the fucking mass amnesty that he gave these people, right? I will admit that the problem was started over here. But, I mean, we're trying to control it, you know? So my only contention with you was like, you know, when people are bringing it up now, it's because they're starting to see like, hey, okay, like, yeah, we turned a blind eye to it before, but like now we're starting to see that it's becoming a problem. And honestly, I think these companies, and I feel like these companies who are hiring these people, which is incentivizing them to come here and stay here, should be punished a lot more than what they are now, right? Like, I don't mean to put it on the people. I understand that they're just coming here to work. But like these companies that are incentivizing them to stay here by paying them and hiring them, knowing they're not supposed to, we should actually be taking, you know, more action on them, because I feel like that would alleviate the problem too. But you know, I live here in California, bro, and it's actually a problem. Like, I'm not saying that they all commit crimes and that they all, I mean, they don't all do that, but it's becoming a problem, bro. It really is. And it's having an effect on literacy rates. Well, at least here in LA, like it's a problem, bro. It is.
Now here's the deal, right? And I get those parts, right? I get certain elements when it comes to people who are legally coming in, right? Which can be a mass swelling of people in a populated area, no doubt, right? Because that can cause populations, right? All I'm just saying is there's always been immigrants, like a New York, right, which is the biggest country, not country, but biggest state of this country specifically. It's always been historically known as the immigrant capital of the United States, and if not of the world, right?
That's true.
So my thing is, like, let's say if people were talking about illegal immigration and whatnot, getting rid of that, I still think that some of these individuals will start to complain when guys do get, you know, certified or get their actual green cards, so on and so forth, right, from these different countries, like different East Asian countries or, you know, south of the border, so to speak. And they come over here, there's still going to be people complaining about this shit. There's too many fucking people, too many immigrants. Well, at the end of the day, this country needs all the help it can get to pay off the fucking debt to the Federal Reserve at the end of the day, right? So we're 40 trillion in debt. At the end of the day, what answer does, because obviously it's going to be mainly conservatives that are complaining about this, right? And I don't fuck with the left or the right, by the way. I don't fuck with any political party, but I do hear them crying about this topic specifically, right? And I'm not saying that they don't have certain points to talk about, but my point is, and this is where I land here, who replaces the net $80 billion in this country? And it's through the immigrants. It's nothing else, the illegal immigration. Who's replacing that? Who's replacing that fucking cheap labor?
I mean, bro, that's the problem. Cheap labor. Like, that's the only reason why they're here. They're not here for any other reasons. That's my problem with Democrat voters. Like, they think that, oh, you're separating families and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, who's going to clean our house? Who's gonna fucking sweep our floors? Who's going to clean our office building? And it's like, bro, you guys just want fucking slaves here. You don't really care about these people being here. You just want labor. And so that's my problem. You know, like, it's essentially like the new slaves. Anytime I hear Democrats talk about these people, they essentially talk about them like they're just machines. And so, okay, take away that. What are they here for? If they were to be taken off the census, and this is my thing about the Democrat Party, right? If these people were to be taken off the census and it wouldn't count towards apportionment, congressional apportionment, I can promise you right now that the Democrat Party platform would change 100% because they wouldn't care. They only keep them here for power. It's not because they genuinely care about these people or their fucking families. No, you just want them here for fucking in power. And I think that shit is sick, because you're literally taking advantage of the struggle of other individuals for your own fucking demonic ways, right? And I have a problem with the fucking asylum shit too, because it's like, let's be real. Half these fucking people are not really coming over here because they're fleeing from fucking danger. You can just be honest and say, hey, bro, my country's fucked up. I'm not really making as much money over there. And I'm just coming to America to make a buck. But no, a lot of them will come here, claim asylum, lie and say somebody's trying to fucking murder them and all this other shit. And we know they're lying. And so, I will say that both parties have a fucking hand in it. But today, as of now, it's only one party that's pushing for them to be here. And I have a fucking problem with that.
Okay, I'm glad you said.
There should be a
I'm glad you said that both parties is playing a hand in it, because that was going to be my submission. Because I don't believe that it's solely the Democratic Party that's playing a hand in, for example, immigrants coming over here and them being worked for cheaper labor. I think that both parties are definitely having their hands in this, especially these big corporations and the parties that they are financing and donating to. So when we think about, when we try to conflate the reasons for why a certain wants, or I guess advocates for rents and not the splitting of families or whatever have you, I think it's important that we don't conflate our personal beliefs in regards to what we think immigrants are here for and whatever have you, and say that that's the reason why a certain party is, I guess, advocating for them, is because we want, or they want rather, slave labor or cheap labor or whatever have you, because literally both parties have a hand in this. And it's mainly the big corporations that are really pushing for immigrants to kind of stay here, because if I'm not mistaken, some big corporations, when the whole deportation with the Trump second term started, some big corporations was like, hey, where are our workers? We don't have nobody to pick the bills and things like that. And it wasn't Democrats, it were the big corporations that were complaining about it. So I definitely believe that two things can be true at the same time. Two parties can have their hands in the cheap labor of immigrants, but also people can also actually be advocating for not the splitting of the families, and actual immigrants who are here for asylum, actual immigrants who are here to seek a better life for themselves and their families. So yeah.
Yeah, how do we know who they are? How do we know who they are?
But that's the gag. We don't know who they are, so we need to stop acting like we know who they are. Oh, my bad.
You ended your submission. I'm going to respond. Look, it's total cap. When the votes get counted in Congress, it's clearly the Democrat Party that's voting against the American citizens. We had the SAVE Act up just to ask for citizenship to be checked when people go and vote. And it's the Democrats that are voting wholesale against that. The entire party is voting against that. When these laws come up to regulate immigration, Democrats are voting against it, and Republicans are largely, while there might be one or two that peel off, largely are voting to support a strong border, to support strong immigration policies, and to support a strong deportation policy of the ones that are here. We see these Democrat blue cities like Minneapolis, like Los Angeles, that have put up a fight against ICE to sit here and try and havoc on both parties. I think Elijah's statement that says large Democrat Party in modern time today, in our lifetime right now, has the heaviest hand in the issue going on.
But see, those are two different things, though, Joe. Those are two different things, because the same people that's voting against the SAVE Act. So really quick, the same people. So in my experience, or just from what I've seen from certain congresspersons who are voting against the the quote unquote SAVE Act. There are a lot of things in the SAVE Act that is not just for checking quote unquote citizenship. I believe that in the SAVE Act, states have to turn over voters lists to the federal government, and that is not how. Especially for presidential elections, in no form should the federal governments have more than the states' rights in regards to voter integrity. They mainly have the states in control to make sure, voter integrity, blah, 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 and not centralizing and federalizing or basically giving more of the executive power in regards of voting, because it does.
But can we admit that a lot of these voter rolls are?
So with that being said, the same people that I am seeing that's voting against the SAVE Act, they're not saying, oh, we don't want to check citizenship status. They're saying that in no way should states have to turn over voter people's sensitive information to the federal government in regards to votes. Now,
can we
that's
agree?
What I've seen.
Can we agree that a lot of these voter rolls are fucking dirty? Like, this is why the federal government is requiring these things, because why? There's fucking people who have been dead for fucking 20, 30 years mysteriously voting from their grave.
So what's the percentage of that?
There's people voting from addresses that are like abandoned fucking buildings. I can get you the numbers on those.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that's a lot of the reason why we're requesting for these voter rolls to be turned in, because they're fucking dirty, and we all know that they are. So that's a part of election integrity, right? I want to make sure that these people who are on these fucking voting rolls are eligible to be voting. You know what I mean? Like, that's
right.
I don't see that's a why is that a problem?
It's not a problem. So that's why states and their states' rights, they have a certain process to make sure that certain things are investigated, certain things are.
But they're not doing that. That's the problem, Coco.
Wait, what do you mean they're not doing that? Because you're trying to classify it as an umbrella term, as if all states are going through that to a drastic percentage, and that's not the case. There's literally not enough evidence to sit there and for the action that the federal government is trying to take in regards of having voter lists. Their consistency in regards to the percentage of voter fraud it doesn't even equate their action. Like,
what's your point?
They haven't even proven the percentage of fraud that they're trying to say is happening. You see what I'm saying? So basically, a federal government literally is trying to centralize voter elections, trying to kind of chip away a little bit of a states' rights. By sitting here trying to say that fraud is happening, and then while people are trying to get these consistencies of fraud happening, it's not to the percentage that they're saying.
If you have nothing to hide,
do you see how hypocritical that is?
If you have nothing to hide and all your voter rolls are clean, and we are voting in federal elections, right? So if I'm not just talking about this, if your point I would agree with, right? If it was just for like state elections, right? Okay, cool. You guys want to do what you do, cool. When we start getting to the point where we're voting in federal elections, I think that it is okay for the federal government to make sure that these people's voting rolls are good and legit. Because, again, if you have nothing to fucking hide, what's the problem? If you were just talking, and I'll land here and I'll say it again, repeat myself. If we were just talking about state laws, state elections, I would agree with you, right? Cool, have at it. But bro, it's just not state elections that those voter rolls are being used for. They're also being used for the fucking federal too. So yes, I do think they should have to turn them over to make sure that there's no fucking cheating involved.
Privacy. Do you not understand that there's a reason why our voting and its constitution and state's constitution, the national the United States Constitution, what happens with states and the states that power have, the power that states have in regards of voting. There's a reason why it is set up like that. There is a reason why voting should not be centralized on a federal level.
You think because of privacy, right? Because of privacy, right? You've already relinquished your privacy when you registered to vote. So that privacy narrative is like
for the
irrelevant.
misuse of their information. So with that
but
being said, and we can
something
have this,
important.
and we can all, talk about it, but like, you know, there
Yeah, but your excuse was privacy. But when you
there are of concerns as to why an individual would not be for giving private information.
But you already gave up that information, bro. You already gave up that information. You registered to fucking vote, yes or no? So what do you talk? What do you talk about? That is, hold on.
Excuse me. Correct.
So
our state,
you gave it to the state, but I'm pretty sure the federal government needs to know if you're voting in federal elections that, hey, you're using legit information. When you went and turned in your ID to register to vote, there goes your privacy right there. It's already over with. So at this point, what is the point?
ID?
Bro,
we already have to use.
I'm saying to register to vote, Coco. Right?
What do you
When
mean?
you turn in your information so they make sure, so they can know that it's you. You've already given up your privacy.
We already have to provide this information to our state to even register to vote. So what is your argument?
What is wrong with them double checking and triple checking to make sure that everybody is being okay? Because here in California and Outland here, they give IDs here. Here's why. They give IDs here in California to people who are not fucking legal here.
He's correct on this. It's almost all the states. I can't think of a one that blocks this, but they all sell data rolls or give it free. You can request it in many of the states for absolutely free. Some of them are just a nominal
and
charge.
You can be an illegal and still have a driver's license here, Coco. So what are we talking about? Of course.
Who's making a claim? No, for one, in regards to voting, I don't know about other states, but even in just registering to vote, there are multiple things that you even have to register to vote. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that at least in the state of Tennessee, in regards to like driver's licenses, if you don't have certain criteria or certain paperwork to have, because it's different like classes of like driver's license, I'm pretty sure it's on like every state. So like not every person is going to, especially if they don't have the paperwork, they're not going to be able, hello, do we not know how ruthless the DMV is? I mean, not the
they
DMV,
automatically sometimes register you here. When you go get your ID, they'll simply ask you, well, some of them do. They'll be like, hey, do you want to register to vote? And you just be like, yeah, all you need is your fucking ID here. Like, I don't need really a proof of ad. Like, I just show them my ID and there's that. So this is what I'm saying. Like, you giving illegals here in California, they give them ID, real ID, identification cards or driver's licenses, however you want to call them. They give them to these people. So they're essentially fitting in with the rest of us. There's nothing on their IDs that say, hey, this person doesn't have legal status. No, they get the same driver's licenses and IDs that we get. So do you not see how that could become a problem?
So you're saying in the state of California.
I'm just using my state as an example.
Just in your state of California, because I like to research things before I speak on them, because I have never heard of California just willy-nilly just giving out driver's license left and right to people that just got here yesterday. So I will have to look up that information first.
Absolutely.
And then I would love to talk about it.
You can.
Hi, my name is Jean.
That is actually true. In California, they give them their license.
I don't think
they don't get real IDs though.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Yeah, you're right, mister. They don't get real IDs.
Hey, Mr. Finley. I live in California. I live in LA specifically. And I also had to unfortunately renew my license, right? Really recently. And they require me to show proof of residency. And that includes like a mortgage, or that includes a renter's agreement or a bill. In order to get those things, and this is me asking, you need an SSN. So I don't know how they would be giving out driver's licenses without them having an SSN.
State calls it AB 60. It's a bill that's been in effect since 2015. It actually states that the lines on the bill There's certain parameters, but the key to the program of AB 60 is basically it allows people who cannot provide proof of legal residency or presence in the U.S. to obtain a California driver's license if they can establish some identity and at least a California residency.
Residency.
That's it.
The California residency would have to include your SSN being granted.
No, it doesn't require your SSN.
Why? I've been.
That's not AB 60 because these immigrants don't have an SSN first and foremost, so they couldn't be required to have it.
But
and so
AB 60, they have to prove. Like even for an AB 60 applicant,
they have to prove just a residency.
They have to prove identity and they have to prove like.
I understand it, but it wouldn't be a social security number.
But they have to prove California residency even as an AB.
I didn't dispute that. I actually cited that twice now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that they don't have to prove residency.
In order to rent in California and or buy a property, you have to fill out an application, and on that application, they're going to ask you for your SSN because I don't know anyone in California, especially in LA, going to rent to you without putting your SSN.
That's not true. They also have ITIN numbers. They also have ITIN numbers that they use. They use ITIN numbers, and no, you do not need a social here in LA because I live in LA too. You do not need a social here in LA to fucking rent. Yes, I understand what you're saying to check your credit, right? But individuals who are not residents here, they'll just use their ITIN numbers or any other form of whatever.
And even other immigrants that come here on work visas or student visas, they don't have social security numbers and yet still are able to rent. Like there's a lot of things that you get asked for that you automatically fill out, but because we're American, because once we put down we're a U.S. citizen, then everybody wants to know everything about you. However, these individuals don't necessarily trigger the same requests, nor do they get to go through the same checks that you
just like they can get bank accounts, right? This is another thing that Trump is trying to cut off for them to be able to not get bank accounts here because that would literally de-incentivize them to be here. So the same things that we have to provide for our, bank accounts, they don't have to. So it's no different.
Why would cutting them? But also the AB 60, they can't like just simply as an AB 60 person or a person that holds an AB 60 license or whatever, they aren't eligible to like register to vote. So like,
Mister, I already know what you're gonna ask. I already know what you're about to ask. I already know what Mister is about to ask right now. When I made the comment about the bank accounts, it's because, bro, make them as uncomfortable as possible to be here. If they have nowhere to store their fucking money, if you get these companies to stop fucking hiring them, you have to make them uncomfortable. Don't incentivize them to fucking stay here, right? Tax them to hell when they're trying to send their money out to their countries. That's his whole point, is to make them uncomfortable to where it's just essentially going to make them, you know what, I can't live here. I gotta go. There's no way I can't work. I can't store my money. I can't do anything. So I might as well just go back home. That's their goal.
But basically, California, I just want to make this clear that in California, for someone to register to vote, they must prove that they are a U.S. citizen. They must prove that they are a California resident. And there's other things that they must prove as well. So like for someone, I guess someone tried to use AB 60 licenses and say, oh, but they're just giving it to people with those licenses. No, they like California explicitly says that they aren't eligible to vote at all.
Obviously, we know that illegals are not eligible to vote, right? But to think that, I said, obviously we know that that you're not eligible to vote as an illegal, but to say that that's not fucking happening is crazy.
No. Someone tried to specifically say, I'm not really sure, but someone tried to specifically say that people like AB 60, they can register to vote, or is that not what was said?
Finley, I know you're trying to talk. You got a lot of noise while you wait.
Because they literally aren't able to vote. And so back to what I was saying, the way our Constitution is set up, Finley, what you doing? Finley, what you doing?
I thought he muted me. My fault. I thought he muted me.
Okay. So with that being said, like,
not too much, Coco.
Our constitutions are set up the way that they're.
Way to get them out of here for you.
So the percentage of fraud that is causing the merit of the quote unquote SAVE Act the administration, they still cannot prove the percentage of fraud that they're trying to say that the SAVE Act is necessary for. And so the people that are mainly going against the SAVE Act is mainly for cybersecurity reasons. It's mainly for privacy reasons. It's for a whole bunch of. It's not just so they can like suck immigrants' dicks. You know what I'm saying? So it's just cape and for like illegals to vote or something like that. And so to try to paint it with that brush, I think it's very disingenuous to the people that are.
Wait, Coco, like the main reason, like a lot of these reasons have to do with underlying problems. So like Trump's SAVE Act and the banking policies that he wants to with regulators to legally assess whether someone's a true resident or legally authorized in the U.S. has a lot less it's more nefarious than what people actually understand. He's not targeting necessarily just illegal immigrants from funneling cash. He is in part, but what he's looking at is to break the back of the mule system. And the mule, like transporting money back and forth to pay dealers, et cetera, to try to break some of that up, which we know is a massive fucking problem. That's literally how Miami got built. All those pretty houses, all those pretty buildings, thank the cocaine cowboys. But more nefarious is the shell companies and the foreign investments that banks are taking because they don't require any of that. He's trying to put in stronger guidelines to say, hey, you actually have to vet this. We don't need the Bank of Singapore, which is a known money laundering fucking bank, like a major one globally, that is like fucking throwing in money into our accounts to help fucking wash it, clean it, and put it somewhere else, or to use it in our interior. And what's odd about this, there are some Republicans that oppose this measure. I'm not going to discount it. But a lot of Democrats also oppose this. And another fucking nefarious thing is to prevent, I know a lot of you guys hate the Jews these days, but like foreign entities, particularly China of chief concern, from fucking flooding into markets and depositing cash into American banks and then being able to, you know, lobby and pay politicians like, Swalwell. You know, remember him collecting money, raping women, banging a fucking Chinese spy. So these things are there where his money came for his campaign from China, things like that. And so he's more targeting those. And this isn't just a normal ask. This was asked under Clinton and it was denied. This was asked under Bush. It was denied. It was asked under Obama and it was denied. Trump somehow or another was just like, fuck you guys, the power that leads, because they're mostly dead and gone. He's like, we're going to put this through and we're going to do this. And what's odd is you do have members that are saying, no, we want this to continue. And you should ask yourself, well, why? If this is saying we just want to get dirty money out of our fucking country and our banking system and to prevent collapses, we don't want to have to bail out a bank that was solely invested in overseas capital from fucking drug runners or criminal elements, and then they pull out the funds and now we have to fucking bail out a bank. That's not going to be there because Trump doesn't bail out banks. He's in fact got one of the records of letting banks go under. If a bank falls, he's not there to save it. He's saying, you did this. You caused this problem. I'm not here, and nor is the taxpayer to come save you. He's known to let those banks fall.
But in regards to the Black community, I hate the Hebrew Israelites. Oh my gosh, they're just they're scum.
Also, this thing about the, what do you call it? This widespread voter fraud, it's been litigated. Like, there have been, Trump has been bitching about this shit for years. I mean,
it's been litigated.
The big lie, it's been studied. The Heritage Foundation did a whole fucking study on this, and they found no widespread voter fraud. Literally, what Trump tried to adjudicate this 60 times in 2020. It's like there was no. If they could prove,
are we really trusting the Heritage Foundation, JJ?
Voter fraud.
Wait, that's not the overall construct of what Trump's saying. Yes, he includes that, but that's not the overarching comment. And Jay, that's like really disingenuous. Like the incident that just happened in New Jersey, right, where they found like fucking a whole bunch of people that shouldn't be on there. The shit that's going on in Wisconsin right now with USB drives. If I hear one more USB fucking joke, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Like, Who's using USB drives? Like seriously,
Viking. They literally,
but
they found 1,000 people registered to vote at one address.
Yeah.
To the address. When they went to the address, it was just an abandoned, a dilapidated abandoned.
This is
house.
what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, so Trump's overarching.
It wasn't a house, it was a shack.
Where was that? Wait, Jay. But the whole overall point is that we're seeing this in multitudes of areas. And what we're seeing is issues with election systems primarily in Democrat areas, which is really weird. Minnesota, Michigan, LA. If they sit there and tell me that the majority of those people only on mail-in ballots fucking voted for a tax increase, I'm finding completely retarded. Bro. Because that means the people that showed up in person who said, fuck no, I don't want to raise my taxes, but the people on the mail-in said, yeah, give me that. I want more money out of my fucking pocket.
Yo,
I don't find it fucking resounding. I just do not see how that could be. But there's debacles on that, and they're investigating it, and it's being quiet because they kind of think there's probably some fraud here, and we don't want to give Spencer Pratt a vocal mouthpiece. But we are aware that there's mothers where voter fraud has been caught, and it's always an excuse of, well, it's just an error. Someone didn't know how to use a USB drive. They hit delete instead of send,
Well, Brad, why not make then why don't they do something? Because this is the thing, right? I do believe that I can concede that there is some irregularity. So some of it I would attribute to a lot of outdated shit, I don't always necessarily think it's nefarious, but let's just say the possibility that it could be. Why don't they come up with a bipartisan coalition to go and check these, all of them, the whole country's, voting process to make sure that it's up to snuff. And that way there could be no political motivation because it's bipartisan, and make sure that everybody is satisfied when they do an investigation, just like for a restaurant, how you have to get graded. Like, make sure that it gets audited, make sure that everything is up to snuff, and just leave it at that. Because what it seems like from a Democrat, hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
Because what it seems, not to snub you, Mr. Finley.
No, you good.
But what it seems like is Trump, likes to, it's the same thing that I feel like with the immigration reform. I'm like, if you're genuine about this issue, there seems to be pretty pragmatic ways to go about it. But what it seems like is that every election cycle, you want to run on this agreement and this bitching and whining and complaining about this issue, because that is going to, gin people up instead of actually being genuine about comprehensive reform on these issues, which I could concede that there needs to be.
Well, we do have an agency that does it. It's called the Federal Elections Committee. It's the FEC. And they do investigate a number of cases and, quote, irregularities. The problem with the irregularities is they're happening way too frequent. And that's the main crux of the arguments is our elections are the most secure, most accurate in history. Yet we keep seeing problems. And particularly on state levels where a lot of people are getting concerned and in their local counties, these elections have much more direct issues onto them. And so when we look at this and say, hey, I'm pretty sure the majority of people in LA did not vote for a tax increase. I'm willing to put a month's salary on that fucking thing that I truly believe fraudulent shit happened or some.
You can look at our mayoral election here. There is no way Nithya Raman, right? Spencer Pratt was up so fucking much, right?
It's not even about that part. Like,
I know where you're going, Brad, but I'm just using that as an example, right? It was so bad she conceded and was crying on fucking stage because she was like, there's no fucking way I'm coming back. And then overnight, she's just all of a sudden.
But see, like you can make that argument, you could say that, but here's the other issue. The same voted for a tax increase. And when Bass and Spencer, when you did their votes, the proposal was way down. Nobody was voting for it. Then all of a sudden, overnight, through all the mail-ins for this one, it succeeded. Yeah, now all of a sudden you're telling me that the tax measure is what kicks it for me. Like you could give me all plethoras of excuses, but the tax measure passes just by mail-in. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Nobody votes for it in person, but you're going to do it in mail-in?
Because what sane person is voting for their taxes to go up? Let's be honest here. Come on, bro. Like nobody here.
Which taxes are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking
Y'all know
about?
we got a political.
What taxes?
We have a political class, and they have a system in place on both sides where they stay in power. This is why most of these politicians they stay in power until they decide to leave. For the most part, and both sides are doing it. And this, like for example. Them people in South Carolina did not Lindsey Graham, bro. They didn't vote for Lindsey Graham. The people, what's the place where Thomas Massey lost his seat? So that's an example of even the Republicans using this system.
Oh, are you in the AC?
Yeah, it's
for Mindy?
Yeah, like they have a system in place. Yo, I lived in LA for 4 years, bro. California is not as liberal as their political class is. Like the actual voters are not voting. They're not.
It's not working.
Most
the fan's blowing, but I think it would probably be something like a condenser or something.
Most California voters, you think, especially the Mexicans.
Especially Southern California and San Diego, they racist.
Yeah, they are not voting for these liberals the way people think they are. They're not voting for all this fucking weirdo policies and all that shit in California. But yet California stays blue for eternity.
Well, because we got to remember the history of California. California was actually one of the fucking creators, homeland for the Republican Party from Richard Nixon on back. You know, somewhere after when crack hit, man, California just turned straight blue.
It's because the politicians designed it that way. They flooded. Like they know how to cheat. They know how to get all the illegal immigrants to vote. They know how to do that shit, bro. And
Gavin Newsom literally came out of his mouth on camera. Go ahead, Mr. Finley. I feel like I cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, I understand the theories about the illegals. I don't, because California's been blue for some time. I think post Reagan, because I think they were blue before Reagan. Then Reagan turned everybody, the whole country freaking red for a moment. But I think, I understand theories behind illegals. I think they're the easy scapegoat. I don't think that's the issue. But I will say this is a great reason why we should do away with the electoral college. We should have ranked choice voting.
No,
Gavin Newsom literally came on camera.
I think some Democratic voters.
College presidents will only have to campaign in California and New York. California, New York, and maybe Texas will elect our presidents every time.
That's not true. That's not. They would have to
say this. I want to say this. Is not lying because I was just in San Diego for a week, and I was down in La Jolla, fucking Del Mar. I'm talking about wealthy folks.
San Diego is beautiful.
They fucking MAGA flags and shit in they fucking yard. Trump flags in they fucking yard. I swear to God. Shit.
There's not everybody in San Diego. I got a cousin that stay in San Diego, and there's a whole bunch of Democrats there too.
But Trump won this last election. He won well electorally, right? But in terms of electoral votes, it was just a couple million votes. You're gonna have in just 3 states to pull off a couple million vote victory. You're gonna have to freaking campaign in places. Number one, you freaking see a Democrat in freaking Texas, and you see a Republican campaigning in freaking California, which would be great. They'd also have to hit up freaking New York, Illinois. It would be much more competitive. They'd have to make more stops. Right now, the majority of the money is spent in 6, 7 swing states.
I think people underestimate the population size of California and New York, bro. California literally is like the whole Midwest as far as population.
No, it's not.
Get the fuck out of here.
The county that I live in,
what kind of math did you take?
Is bigger in some states, bro. This is actually
it's not the whole Midwest.
Yeah, especially breaking it down.
Do you know how many people live in the Midwest, bro, in the metro area?
Yeah, it's a lot of people. But I'm saying the presidents will have to make more stops, fam. You wouldn't be able to ignore it because if elections are 3 million people apiece, fam, every vote would count. 3 million votes and 100 million people voting or 120 million people voting. It's not a lot of votes, which means you'd have to make all these stops, fam. You couldn't take no state for granted. No state for granted. Most states would be in play. Now I will admit maybe Montana would still be ignored, not like they go there anywhere. South Dakota and North Dakota would still be ignored. But the rest of the states that are moderately populated, your Wisconsins, Ohio, freaking, right, Georgia, like they would presidents would have to stop there. It wouldn't just be the swing states deciding. And I know the swing states change.
You know how many times Donald Trump went to Michigan and fucking Wisconsin?
A lot of fucking times.
A lot. Yeah,
that's
where they spend the majority of the time.
Bay, like, look, that nigga he was like, yo, I gotta pull back up here. This is why when you go back to that last election cycle, same election, Pennsylvania, people will sleep. Oh yeah, all they need is New York and all of this other shit and shit. No, bro. No. Pay attention to the sweet fucking states because they will come back to fucking haunt you. Hillary Clinton. Oh no, I don't have to go here.
Yeah, she was just dumb.
Hey, look, hey.
That's not true. That is not true.
Nigga.
But I also want to point out
she fucked up.
She's not dumb.
She didn't spin the block.
My last point. I think Hillary did twice. She made the same mistake twice. She put her foot on the gas. She underestimated her opponent, and then she got whooped because she did that with Obama. And then she did it again with Trump, my opinion. But the last point about the Electoral College, and I also believe
the worst thing Hillary did was
hold on, let me just make that
was the worst thing she could have did.
Just let me make this last point about the Electoral College. Another reason why I think that the popular vote would be better, I think it would activate a lot of red voters in freaking California that are ignored. That's like, what the hell what's the purpose? Because it don't matter. Same thing, New York, and freaking like red voters in like Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it would motivate a lot of them to come out.
How?
I mean, blue voters.
How?
What do you mean how?
How would it do that?
How would what do what?
What you just said.
For example, if I'm a red voter in freaking California